welcome to our audience again. Welcome to Black History Entertainment, another program on The Voice. And today we'll be doing another segment of our financial piece with Jacob Vanderpuye. The last, the segment that we did before, you guys did very well. And I must say thanks to all the listeners who tuned in and participated in listening to the program and watching the program on YouTube also. And so, a very big shout out to all the fans, and for those who are new and will be listening to this segment, stay tuned and continue to watching our programming. But for this particular segment, which we are just gonna piggyback on where we left off. First, we dealt with credit and how to build your credit. What is credit? We defined that for you, and then we gave you the full explanation of how all of those things come together to give you a steady pathway to gain and grow wealth and maintain that wealth building partnership that you need for your life and career and family. So today we are going to deal with the other piece where we talk about retirement. And retirement comes in two big stages, but I'm going to just say one is the spiritual retirement and the physical retirement, and both of them cost money. You know what I'm saying? Even going out the door into the grave, it's still gonna cost us. So we want to be prepared one way or the other. Not I'm putting any gloom, but guess what? In the very same atmosphere where it is inevitable that we will someday depart this world, it is inevitable if we live long enough and be healthy enough, we will want to retire from our normal duties and contribution within the workforce. So this evening, again, we have the expert with us here. That is none other than Jacob Vanderpuye, and he's gonna walk us through the entire area of dealing with retirement and balancing all of that and get us through up to that part. So I will now go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Jacob Vanderpuye, and I'm glad to have you back again here with us with Black History, and you are one of our crucial teammates, and we are happy to have you. And I'm sure our guest is also looking forward since we did so well with the first section of the financial piece. So, Mr. Vanderpuye, I have a number of questions here for you that I'm excited about, and I'm going to turn this microphone over to you to talk to our wonderful guests and listeners and audience and everyone out there on all social media platforms. Welcome, Mr. Vanderpuye.
Thank you, Owen. You are too kind. Appreciate the opportunity, and I hope that this time we are able to build on where we started.
Definitely.
Budgeting for the household, having credit knowledge and expanding your credit knowledge, and the fact that if you do not have credit, especially in this society, you get penalized for not having credit or not having credit knowledge. So it's imperative that we all take the time to talk to other bankers or friends and acquaintances who have the credit knowledge, or read some books around it, so that we can build on that. And that is how we as a people can advance the cause and create wealth for ourselves. Today, like Owen rightly said, we're going to touch on retirement. Retirement is a topic that is on almost everybody's mind.
Right.
And we have a lot. We have less time than information. So we're going to try and pick and choose. Mm-hmm. And hopefully by the time we part ways tonight, I'll leave you some nuggets of knowledge for you to expand on.
Right. So that brings us to my first question. And my first question will be to explain to the audience what is retirement and when does it start?
Thank you. So retirement technically is when an individual has gotten to a stage where they no longer need their active income to supplement their lifestyle. And I use the term active income cautiously. I say that because, advisedly. I say that because there's also a thing called passive income. where if you do an investment, the returns from those investments are turned passive. That means you don't have to do a 9 to 5, perhaps run a business, so actively go about duties and planning and strategizing to earn an income to supplement your lifestyle. And so that's the technical definition for retirement. However, I also like to state that retirement means different things to different people. Owen spoke about spiritual retirement, right? Right, and then physical retirement. We'll do the physical part today, right? But yes, for some folks, retirement might mean that they have found their calling in life, if it is to serve the Lord or pursue a passion. I don't know, I like to retire and teach. For instance, others would like to retire and do their golf games, and yet others who do their speed cards and a host of other things. Others want to travel. And so some folks find their calling, find their passion, and decide that for the remainder of their life on Mother Earth, they're going to dedicate it to that. And the so-called blue-collar, white-collar jobs that we're doing is no longer a place for them. But to do that, you have to be able to have a nest egg to finance that passion or that hobby, or take care of the people around you. So retirement is a very important thing. I would say very seriously that if you fail to plan for retirement, you have planned to fail for retirement. Why do I say that? We are not islands on our own, right? We live with people. We have either spouses, family, relations, and people who care for us. And so even if you don't care for yourself and you think that you go out to the bank, you don't want to save anything, it might affect the people around you. So if you love the people, if you don't love yourself, but you love the people around you, it behoves that you make it a point to make an appointment with a financial planner or financial advisor. These individuals have studied this retirement planning process for their entire life, and they're able to craft a bespoke plan which suits your particular needs. To each their own. As I said earlier on, retirement is different for different people. We have different streams of income, different levels of income. And so therefore you need to have an advisor who understand the granular details of your own active income, passive income strategies, and craft a plan for you so that come retirement, you'll be able to maintain the lifestyle that you intend to maintain. It also leads me to, you said when you retire, right? Is that what you said? Yeah, and I'd had a discussion with Owen some time ago that retirement age, for the most part in the United States, is a reflection of the Social Security Administration policy. Now you can go to ssa.gov and get all this information, but the policy of Social Security says that you need to contribute what we call 40 credits, or roughly 10 years into the Social Security program for you to start getting benefits. And by benefits, I mean getting a payout for the remainder of your life. Right. On this. Now the policy stipulates that the payouts start from 62. Now, if you do not take it at 62 and you decide to drag it out, it peaks at 67, right? Most people try to do it in the middle ground, right? That's around 65, so you can get a decent amount. So let's say you're supposed to get it at 62, you decide not to do it, but drag it to 67, and the returns that you get at 67 definitely higher than 62 because you waited an extra 5 years, and the nest egg that you had has been invested and has grown, and so therefore you get more at home. When you sit with your advisor, he's able to do a calculus of how much, or project how much you'll be earning when you retire, if you guys agree on the age. Right. And you can compare how far what you're getting from Social Security. So I use an example. Let's say you're getting $3,200 from Social Security, all right? Mm-hmm. But your lifestyle and your household expenses somewhere in the region of about $5,000. You have a deficit of $1,800. If you sit with a planner and you identify that deficit of $1,800, right, the planner can then help you craft a plan so that come retirement, you will have a nest egg separate from Social Security, probably from your pension or your 401k or your Roth IRA to bridge that gap.
Right.
So
I'm gonna also say this, because you mentioned something earlier on in terms of looking at the retirement age, especially in the United States, that is between 65 and I think, if my memory serves me right, full retirement kicks in at age 67. And so if you take an earlier retirement, your Social Security returns or earnings will be a little bit less. But also, just to add a little note to that, in that just to say, part of being able to work a little longer also will be as a direct result of good health, because if you are not in good health and you didn't take care of yourself while you're earning, along with doing all the other things for your planning retirement, then it would be difficult for you to be able to want to extend that retirement age to get that additional income by another 3 to 4 years thereabout. You know what I'm saying? So it brings me to another point, Mr. Vanderpuye, that I want to ask, and that is, everybody spends, but looking at the ones that most people, when we spend and you earn and you have debts, and also you are not sure, how to manage all of these debts, and you want to actually get into the retirement planning and taking yourself down that road. Explain how we can navigate that territory by, you being in debt, you having to spend, whether it's on a normal level, which is your regular bills, and there comes the unexpected spending. You know what I'm saying? Walk us through that and talk to our listeners and explain how they can manage that delicate dance there.
So the truth is that everybody has debt. About a decade or so ago, one of my favorite authors, an economist, Joseph Stiglitz, wrote a paper on the transition from our pension funds to what we call defined benefit plans, defined benefit contributions, and a host of other things. And so some of my colleagues who are a little more advanced in age do have pensions, which is a much better retirement plan than what we have right now, which is the 401ks.
Right.
And he made a distinction that those pensions would not realistically be able to pay out, and so therefore corporations who were helping fund these pension plans needed to make an adjustment so that it will be viable going forward. And so today we have what we call the 401ks, the IRAs, the Roth IRAs, and a host of other derivatives of investment derivatives, which will help us chart that plan. Now, to your earlier question about being in debt, we all have debts.
Definitely.
We all. Another paper that I read by Neil Gabler, he quoted, he had a statistics that the average American, or 40% of Americans, couldn't come up with $400 in an emergency. Think about that. I say that not to make you feel bad, but for you to understand that we're all in this together.
Right, I've been there.
There are times when folks who you'll come across who live in the $1 million mansions or own these businesses have times when they can't come up with $400 in an emergency.
Right, and they're hard-working people, you know what I'm saying? And they're paying their taxes, they're doing everything right, but because of circumstances and like you said, debt, it is difficult in a crisis sometimes to find that $400.
Exactly. So debt is across board. Everybody has a debt to manage.
Right.
You don't, you haven't tried. So the key is to make it a point, meet with your advisor, have a plan in place. These plans are made for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. Right. It's a long-term plan. During that time, you will have your financial trials and tribulations. Nobody says what will happen. The key is to have a plan in place. That plan will project how you will live 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line when you decided to exit the active workforce.
Right. And
what that plan does is that it takes your current income, projects your future income, and hives up what you need to put away today, so that tomorrow when you decide to retire, what you put away today would have grown and can earn you some income. Now, I would emphasize that the more you put away today, the better it will, because there's something called the time value of money. Right. So the longer the funds are sitting in your investment accounts, the more interest they accrue. Okay, $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow, they say, right? That proverbial terms is very true. And so if you start retirement early, matter of fact, if you are a teenager or in your 20s and you're listening and you are under the power of my voice, I say to you, even if you're earning $1,000 a month, put something away, because that $100 or $50 that you put away when you're in your 20s, by the time you get to your 60s, that will be about 100 folds. Definitely. And it'll pay you more than when you start doing it when you're 60 or 50 or 40.
Definitely. And I wanna chime in there with you a little bit and say, for young people, when they think, because we were all there, and looking at us now, we are in our 50s onwards, and then back then in your 20s, someone said to you, man, 20 years from now, you go, what, are you crazy? 20 who? You know what I'm saying? But then when we are at this stage and you look back, you realize how fast 20 years went by. So like you said, for young people who are thinking about retirement, they should make it a priority and not just a thought. You know what I'm saying? Make that a part of their life, their everyday discussion looking forward, because those 20, 30 years are going to go by. And you see that very quickly when you have a child and that child is just born and you're playing with that baby, and that baby is dependent on you and hanging on to your trousers and stuff like that. And then you turn around and you look, and that child is telling you goodbye, or you're telling that child, hey, it's time for you to go. That child would have gone through 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, it's crucial that young people, or people in general, definitely take this serious and make preparations for those years that is coming up on us like a whirlwind.
Yes. And for the parents who are also listening to us, it is imperative that you educate your kids to start investing early, right? And so I probably started investing at a later stage than I should have. I started investing from my late 20s and early 30s. But today, I will educate my son to start very early. If he can start in his teens, I will help him do that, because of the power of the time value of money. One. Right. Second thing is that you need to equip these children with the financial skills that they need to survive in this society. This society is brutal. And so if you are not equipped with information, it will penalize you. If it's not today, it's going to happen at some time in the future. So you need to do that.
Definitely.
Apart from that, I did say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I say that seriously, because if you teach your kids today to start investing, they will see the value of that investment earlier than we probably did. And so therefore they will carry on.